Well, Dr. Molstrom, great to have you here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a very timely topic as a lot of families are getting ready for a summer full of adventures. Summer camp, a lot of times we talk about it as just a great way to keep the kiddos busy. But what are some of the real, health benefits to having kids involved in camp?
That's a great question. Humans have always interacted with nature, has always been very positive. And I think that establishing that at a young age, whenever you can, is a great thing. I think we all personally have been outside and have realized that, we feel great getting out there. So exactly for children, there are several things that being outside can provide some important health benefits. So first of all, it is an opportunity for kids to develop some skills about being outside. And depending on what kind of camp they're going to, they're going to develop different skills. That could be sailing, it could be climbing, it could be, various kinds of survival in the wilderness and whatnot. That all develops autonomy. That's really important for children to have time away from their parents and around other types of mentors. It also helps develop really important social interactions with other peers, maybe kids that come from different walks of life or different parts of the city that are not from their own school neighborhood.
With summer camp probably comes some different anxieties for parents, especially if you're going to send your kid to a sleepaway camp or, something that might be a little further away or a little out of their comfort zone. And especially, this year, things obviously look very different here in light of the pandemic. What are some things that parents should be mindful of? Is it safe to send your kids to a crowded summer camp?
I think right now it is safe to do that with some caveats. The last 2 summers have been, I think everything was put on hold, travel and whatnot. I think this is the first summer, because of the vaccination rates and the current variant that we're having, and we're just over a slump right now. I think this is quite honestly one of the safer times since the pandemic started to get people outside in groups, maybe traveling. Summer camp can be included in that. I think one thing is very important, though, is to understand what the camp's policy is around COVID. So testing and vaccines. So to sort of dig into that a little bit more, do they require a negative test to start the camp? So I think that is important. There have been many documented instances of camps or camp-like activities being super spreader events. So nobody wants that to happen. Nobody wants to have a child goes to a camp and gets everybody infected, or bring a child home that's sick. So the best way to ensure that that's not the case is to have a negative test. All kids, counselors, anybody that's going to be in the close confines, everybody's going to be sleeping in cabins and things like that usually. So a negative test. Also, even better, or in addition to that, is a policy of testing the kids if they develop illness while they're at camp.
What are some good kind of wilderness first aid things to keep in mind that you want to make sure your child either has the right gear for or is ready to handle?
The 2 biggest things are going to be sunscreen, tons of sunscreen. I know that seems common sense. It's really hard to get kids to put on their sunscreen, though. Really, especially with fairer skinned children and around the areas that are exposed most. So it's going to be the face and the ears, the neck. Then if they're going to be in the water a lot, it needs to be sort of waterproof or water resistant sunscreen. And the other thing is bug spray. So insect repellent, there's different kinds. The insect repellents that have DEET, so DEET, is most effective really for mosquitoes in particular, than some of the others that have like a picaridin, and there's some other things. These are all safe. They're all safe for children. They're all safe for skin. I think that the important thing is finding something that is effective. Ticks are going to be a nuisance this year. For some reason, we're hearing just lots of reports of huge numbers of ticks everywhere in the country, actually. And in places where we don't necessarily see them, like in the city. Unfortunately, the bug sprays are not really effective against ticks. They're very, very hardy insects. Pretty much, they're really difficult to eliminate and protect from. It's going to be barriers are going to be the most important thing. So Making sure that your kids have got long sleeves and long pants and socks to wear in situations where they need to. Hydration would be the last thing. I would just make sure that they've got a couple water bottles in case they lose one, and always have that full.
Are there any activities in particular for summer camp that can be more dangerous that you might want to discuss certain things with your kids before they go and participate?
I think that water activities are going to be high on that list.
Yeah.
And so if there's any kind of rope swinging, canoeing, kayaking, paddle boarding, anything like that, or just plain on swimming, the camp should be very well equipped to handle water emergencies and have lifeguarding skills with all of their counselors and other individuals there. But it's a good time to sort of think about, do we need to brush up on a swim lesson or something like that? And now's the time to plan, if it's not too late right now, to get your child into a swimming lesson if possible.
Dr. Molstrom, really appreciate your time this morning. Great to talk with you. Great advice for kids and parents getting ready for a fun summer.
Excellent. Thank you, Emily.